It was the animatronic that broke the internet and the story of Pirates of the Caribbean all at the same time. The new pirate, transforming skeletal pirate in Pirates of the Caribbean animatronic that just made a huge splash on Disney social media over the last few weeks is already broken, Vash, and let's talk about it today on That Park Place. Okay, so this is from laughinplace.com, written by Luke Manning with Maxon Faber as the photographer. So just over a week since a controversial new audio animatronic figure made its debut at Disneyland's Pirates of the Caribbean, it's already experiencing some issues. So Pirates of the Caribbean reopened from refurbishment last week with a new next-gen audio animatronic figure that has gone on to be highly controversial among Disney fans. The new figure replaces the skeleton captain that sat atop a hoard of gold doubloons and treasure in the cavernous first half of the attraction. While Disney touted the new technology on display here, allowing the captain's face to transform from alive to skeletal, fans' reaction has been lukewarm at best. In fact, Laughing Place's own Michael Celestino really didn't like it. I guess that's a link to something there, but I don't know. In riding the attraction on July 4th, Laughing Place noticed that the new figure wasn't moving nor making any sound. The face appeared to be covered up with a skeletal mask, and the figure was turned off. Whether this is because the figure isn't working or Disney has already decided to make changes based on guest feedback remains to be seen, but this is how it looks in its B mode. So here's a video here. Let's take a look. Oh, maybe not. Maybe we won't take a look. All right, I guess not. All right, here's a video. Let's take a look. So can I kill the audio? It's okay. So we're gonna kill the audio on this because we don't want to get dinged by Disney, and they will.
Right. And, the most important thing to realize about this is that with this, figure in B mode, there is no audio that plays, which is a very important part of the story because. The audio that played before, it was like, it was like this really over the top grunting that used to actually occur that you could actually hear throughout the various show scenes before and after. Thankfully, B mode, nothing.
Is this in the right area here?
Yeah, you want to go forward, probably about halfway into the video. So, I think you're going to get there.
Okay, beyond this even.
Yes, yeah.
This is very different from Walt Disney World's version, isn't it?
Very much so. Yeah, we have quite a few.
I always thought they were the
scenes.
same. I thought they were the same thing.
No, Marvin, you got to come over to the West Coast.
I really do. Okay, here it is.
Really like. There you go.
Here it is. So right now, up to this point, we've only seen skeletons.
Right.
And now we're seeing this pirate turn into a skeleton.
Yes. Now. This is, I think, the B mode version. Is that right? Or right. Oh yeah. Okay. This is
the regular. This is the regular version.
This is the working version. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the working version.
Very important to go over the fact that he's right now going. It's
okay.
Like this
I'll turn on the audio for this part.
Sure.
Okay, so first of all, they play like Yo-Ho over this?
Yes, yeah. So you have that very atmospheric music, beautifully designed by Exitentio, over these kind of Claude Coatsian type scenes right here. And occasionally you'll hear, dead man tell no tales. But then on top of all of that, they've layered this audio on there very haphazardly. And so part of the problem with this that really sticks in people's craw is not so much that he's animated and it breaks the story, as you so beautifully pointed out, but it's distracting. And it's actually detracting to the scenes both before and behind it.
So was it always playing the do 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 do? Okay, so it always has done that. Because in Walt Disney World, you don't hear that until you get to like the end.
Right. So there's like an instrumental version that plays during this segment right here. It's not vocalized.
Yeah.
And it's It's like an old 1960s recording right there, and it only occurs when you get past the kind of the hurricane pirate scene right there. So it's very
I wish this video
particularly
worked so
placed.
we could see what it looks like in the. Okay. So yeah, it is. So now I guess they put a mask over it. That's interesting.
Yeah, they put a mask.
So is this what it looked like before? Like, was it just a pirate captain skeleton?
Yeah, literally, it was a pirate skeleton right there, and they replaced him with a fully realized animatronic figure right there. Again, you only have his arm and his head moving right there, but there's enough movement and there's enough animation there where it's very detracting to the other scenes because they just feature skeletons, for the last 3 or 4 show scenes right there. So it's just one of these things where it's like it's just out of place completely.
I couldn't believe they went back to the screen face, right? Like, I couldn't believe they went back to. They just spent how much money revamping Frozen Ever After over in Epcot to get rid of the screen faces, and now all of a sudden here we are back with the screen faces. And it makes no sense too, because if you go to Shanghai, they have a Jack Sparrow animatronic in their pirates that doesn't have a screen face, but still turns into a skeleton.
Well, doesn't he come to life actually? He comes to life from a skeleton, which is kind of a cool.
Yeah,
it's a really cool effect. It's really awesome.
Yeah,
the thing that they want to. Okay, please.
Because that wasn't I don't think that's a screen animatronic, if I'm correct.
No. That's a fully realized animatronic figure right there. Not just an arm, not just a hand, not just a head, but the entire figure is sculpted, moves super realistically. Very, very good effect right there. Awesome. What they wanted to highlight here is, when you have those projection faces, like you saw in Frozen, like you see currently in Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Buzz Lightyear, etc. Those are internal projections right there within those heads to provide that effect. This is actually done differently. It's actually external projection, and the fidelity of the figure is maintained even with his movements right there. And there's some real-time tracking software to do that. Go ahead, please.
What you're seeing right now, guys, is Shanghai. It is the ultimate Pirates of the Caribbean experience. Like, it is so freaking good. And you see, same kind of situation here where they got all the skeletons here.
Right.
And so, yeah, let's have a look, because this is kind of like what you were describing. Like, you go through the scenes, it's skeleton after skeleton, they're not moving. In the Walt Disney World version, you just kind of go through an underwater cave, and there used to be like a lot of skeletons there, but now there's not really as many. There used to be a skeleton mermaid, and I love it that they've got the skeleton jail scene right there with the skeleton dog.
They do the classic scenes, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Like, it was a nice continuation. Like, it's almost feels like a sequel to the original.
Right.
And we got the iconic scene right here with the dog and the prisoners, and they're all skeletons. And then you get to this point where
you're thinking you're going to see another skeleton, and then there's a
then
trick there.
It's Jack Sparrow. I'm actually even going to turn the. Skeleton right there. And then it becomes a Jack Sparrow animatronic. What a cool way to take you out of there.
Super cool effect.
But it's a real animatronic with a real animatronic face and not a screen. I love that. That's super, super cool.
Right. So that's that transition point, right? To take you from the skeleton world to the living world, and now you have living figures from beyond that. Pirates of the Caribbean at Disneyland was structured in a very similar way, especially when Marvin actually came in and added a scene, I believe in 2018, around there, to have this delineation point between the skeleton and the real. This breaks that entirely, because this is the scene right before that transition process. So, like you said, breaks story, breaks immersion, breaks tone.
It reminds me of what they did in Walt Disney World with Haunted Mansion.
Exactly, and that's
in the Haunted Mansion in Walt Disney World in Magic Kingdom, you go through and you don't actually see a ghost. You just see like haunted happenings. You have the one guy trying to get out of the casket. But you just see like things moving and the floating candelabra and the cold and stuff like that until you get to the seance room. And when once you get to the seance room, that's when Madame Leota conjures the ghosts, and now you can see them. They decided they needed the Hatbox Ghost because merchandising, and because of that, the Hatbox Ghost is just right there in the front of the ride, by where the Donald Duck chair used to be, and now, it completely breaks the story of the attraction, because at the end of the day, Vash, there's a really important reason why they do things like this. They don't care.
Yes. No.
They don't give a crud about this. Honestly.
And Dreamer's Point is the antithesis of the idea that Walt had this incredible optimism and hope for the future, that if we all work together and we all dream together, we could build the impossible and make it our reality.
You think Tony Baxter is breaking the immersion of a ride just because it wants to get a merchandising character in there? You think Tony Baxter is making asinine statements like this?
And so what we've tried to do is really bring that shape language from the architecture.
But like what we love to talk about at WDI is shape language. And we often refer to shape language.
I'm pretty sure when Tony Baxter was at WDI, they weren't talking about no shape language.
I'm pretty sure as well that conversation doesn't actually take place. But the conversations that took place, at least back in the day, like you said, Marvin, Claude Coates, Mark Davis, right? I think Mark Davis really was a little bit more, character oriented. Versus Claude Coates, who's very much more atmospheric, right? And that comes from his animation background, artist background, actually. So this is why you have these delineating points between these attractions, both being at Disneyland's Pirates of the Caribbean and Disneyland and Walt Disney World's Haunted Mansion, right? So when you break that with the Hatbox Ghost, you've now taken an effect that I think everybody would have, otherwise appreciated, which they certainly do when it comes to Disneyland's version of the Hatbox Ghost in the Haunted Mansion. But now you've taken it and you've broken the story, and now you don't appeal necessarily to anybody. I think that is taking place here. Also, too, this is a showcase for new technology. This was, Bloomberg including a quote from an Imagineer saying that they are testing these technologies using classic attractions to do it. And Bloomberg actually made the case that this might actually be a test showcase for attractions coming to Abu Dhabi and so forth. So it's not like this is done to enhance or plus this attraction. No, they utilized a classic attraction, broke the story in order to test out their technology, which is the worst way to do it. Yeah, you're 100% right. So no, because some people are like, oh well, because it's in B mode now or whatever, it's got the thing over it, it's disabled. They're like, oh well, maybe they listened. They did not listen. No. Listen, they did not listen. Now listen to me. The Walt Disney Company does not care about your complaints. They did not change Enchanted Tiki Room under new management until it literally burned down. Yes. They will die on that hill of them being right and you being wrong. Because remember, Vash, this is the company that has never made a mistake. That's very true. And they didn't listen, right? Because this was only down for a day. Next day, it was back up, working in A mode, which was most unfortunate. But a lot of people, when looking at this and seeing the issues when it comes to story and everything else, a lot of people prefer the B mode over the A mode, which I think is the first time I've ever heard of that actually occurring, which really highlights just how badly this actually was done. Just imagining now a world in which you go through the attraction and the animatronic is working, and so you go, "Aww." Yeah. Like it's always the opposite. That's so funny. So it was the opposite. Oh. Yeah, and I want to go ahead and end with this. Maestro did a poll on their site, actually, with people, asking people, prefer the, before or do you prefer the after? Being the projection effect versus what they actually had before in the scene. 88% voted that this was a bad move. They preferred the original version. So I think Disney really did mess up here.
It was so funny because like the super shills are probably all praising this animatronic and how what a great move by Disney to bring such modern technology into this ride. And then the day that they take it out, the shills will say, "Great move by Disney getting rid of that. It completely broke the story." We saw it with Enchanted Tiki Room under new management. They did the same thing. The king shill of all shills, Lou Mangello, was like, "Oh well, it's about look at them listening to the people." I'm like, "You praised this attraction. Shut up."
I am very confident that will actually happen because, we used to have in Pirates of the Caribbean at least Disneyland's version used to have the waterfall effect right from Davy Jones, and people I think after a while didn't necessarily care for that, and they took it out, and people praised that decision. Mm-hmm. I do think there will be a rethink on this, maybe not in the near future, but probably 5-10 years, somewhere around there. They will have rethought this, have taken it out, and everybody will go, yeah, that was a great move, including, like you said, the shills that are defending it today.
James Alt TV, by the way, says, "I heard they put the original skeleton back." It's not what I'm hearing. Is that what you're hearing, Vash?
No.
They just put a mask over the one.
They just put a mask over this one. That's because they wanted to hide that projection surface while that projector was down. But he is back working, operational, functional, all of that. No audio changes from what I've been able to track, etc.
Yeah. What was I just gonna say? Before I took that comment was we had the Davy Jones thing, and I actually liked it, but I understood. I didn't like it when they changed it to Blackbeard. They changed it to Blackbeard when on Stranger Tides came out, and everybody was just like, oh, and that was kind of weird. The one thing they used to have in the Walt Disney World version that I loved that I didn't understand why they got rid of, probably because it didn't work very well. They used to have lights in the water that were moving through the water to look like mermaids.
Right, I did see that.
Yeah, and as you went through, they would be playing like the mermaid. You'd hear the mermaids singing, and I always thought it was really creepy and really pretty. So,
Yeah, well, I sometimes you can plus a scene or attraction with what your I guess latest objective is. In that case, it was synergy with Pirates of the Caribbean 4, I do believe. But look, Hatbox Ghost at Disneyland's Haunted Mansion, I think, was incorporated very, very well. And obviously, you have merchandising, benefits from that and everything else. Like, that's a good way to plus an attraction. Mm-hmm. But you can see, even when it comes to placement, how they can get it wrong. Like in the case of Walt Disney World's version of the same figure in the same attraction.
Right. At least now the redhead's a pirate, Vash. It's about time, right?
Don't get me started on that.
Well, I just love it because Disney loves to hang its hat on pirates, and like pirates is such a big thing for them. Absolutely. But they are complete. I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to embrace pirates, you have to understand what pirates are.
Yes.
There's great Jake and the Neverland Pirates like kids book that actually has a page that says a pirate never takes something that doesn't belong to them. And it was a great meme where people were like, I worry sometimes that Disney doesn't actually know what a pirate is.
What? Isn't the whole point of piracy to take what's not yours? They say that in the first Pirates, right?
It's pretty much,
you can't get nothing back.
It's pretty much all they do, Vash. But then again, what do we know? We're just two simple live streamers on YouTube, and they're the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.